Hey everybody, Joseph Rothschild here, aka Mono Bluetron, back again with another episode of 10-Minute Testing. Today we're looking at a deck that is already proven, it's just a little bit shocking. In the wake of the ban list, the format was pretty open, and there have been a bunch of interesting decks that have taken advantage of that. One of those is the column-based and shockingly ungimmicky MEKK-KNIGHTs. So here's the list, and I'll let you know that it's not original or anything. It was made by looking specifically at Brian Riley's top 8 Danbury list, Joel Raymershoven's top 32 Bochum list, and Mega Super Genius and channel subscriber Blade Arms' list. As always, I'll give you a little bit of background about the archetype, a little bit of a discussion about what I hope the deck can do, and as always, the card by card. So firstly, for those of you that don't know, MEKK-KNIGHT is one of the new archetypes in Exfo. Like Magical Musketeers before it, it actually cares about columns, but also like Magical Musketeers, it doesn't matter that much. There are a series of big honkin' dudes, each of a different color, and each with a special effect. More importantly, they can be special summoned from your hand if there are 2 or more cards in their associated column. Blue and purple specifically are designed to search additional MEKK-KNIGHTs from your deck, so it's very easy to get away with playing a very small suite of them. This begs the question: what do we do with all the extra space? Well, when you've got space, you can always jam in some extra engines. We're playing our love letter to the format, 3 copies of every relevant hand trap, as well as an 11-card invoked suite consisting of A-Lister, Terraforming, Meltdown, and Invocation. Since most of the hand traps and all of the MEKK-KNIGHTs are light, making Mekka is easy, and it's fantastic under Master Rule 4, since it puts an extra card in your monster zone. That plus a set card can make turn 1 MEKK-KNIGHTs, though with 3 copies of Mind Control, 9 hand traps, and a host of monsters that destroy your opponents, we're aiming to go second and barf out a couple of them. So with that, let's get into the card by card. First are our 9 hand traps, 3 copies of Ash Blossom, 3 Effect Veiler, and 3 Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit. After that are 3 A-Lister and the MEKK-KNIGHTs themselves, 3 copies of Blue Sky, who adds MEKK-KNIGHTs with different names equal to the cards in its column to your hand, 3 copies of Purple Nightfall, who can banish a MEKK-KNIGHT for 1 turn to add 1 to your hand, and the one-ofs, Indigo Eclipse, who moves your MEKK-KNIGHTs to clear cluttered columns, and 1 Red Moon, who turns lands into mountains. He banishes a MEKK-KNIGHT from your graveyard to pop a monster in its column. Spells are particularly important since you're often setting them, so we've got 2 Invocation, 3 Meltdown, 3 Terraforming, then a small spellbook suite of 2 Spellbook of Knowledge and 1 Secrets. Next are 3 Mind Control to make Invocation plays, 3 Pot of Desires, and 3 Scapegoat. In the extra, we've got 3 Mekka, 1 Purgatrio, 1 Malgenancia, 1 Raijin, 1 Misses, 1 Proxy Dragon, 2 Link Spider, 1 Underclock Taker, 1 Decode Talker, 1 MEKK-KNIGHT World Scar, 1 Borreload, and 1 Saruya. So with that, let's jump into the games. So our first match is up against the deck we are spiritually succeeding, Magical Musketeers. We both care about columns, so let's all have a columnal time. They're going to start by normal summoning a Starfire and setting a Solemn Strike. We draw into a Blue Sky, so we'll go ahead and summon blue. That gets Solemn Struck. Now we can summon purple by setting a copy of Pot of Desires, and we can negate the cast bar should anything happen. We'll go into a Red Lotus so we can destroy that Starfire. They will negate it with a Cross Domination, and we will go ahead and Ash Blossom the effect of Shooter cast bar. Now the set card is a Pot of Desires, so we'll go ahead and flip that sucker up, and what do we draw into? But one of our 9 ways to get A-Lister. We'll normal summon him, and they know it's over, so they'll concede. So one of the things this deck excels at is chewing through boards that have already been built. This is evidenced by our second game, which is up against Paleozoic. Our opponent gets to go first, which is always what the Paleo player wants. They'll go ahead and set 3 and pass it back to us. We draw into a copy of Terraforming. 3 Terraformings, huh? That's interesting. What's with that OPT clause on Magical Meltdown? We'll go ahead and get A-Lister. They're going to chain a copy of Paleozoic Dynamiscus. That's not really good news for us because we can't do anything with A-Lister this turn. Thankfully, it does allow us to special summon a copy of Blue Sky. We'll go ahead and get a Lavender Dusk, then start attacking. It's going to get Canadian. We'll chain the effect of purple so that it can banish itself for a copy of Red Lotus. Then we're going to get over the trap monster. In main phase 2, we're going to special summon a Crimson Lotus and then steal what I'm sure is a dupe frog so we can link summon an Underclock Taker and it doesn't get its effect. Our opponent draws into a Solemn Strike and we are up so far on cards it doesn't even matter. We're not going to get the Jack that we banished back because now its zone is occupied by a token, but that's still fine. We'll go ahead and go into a Link Spider, into a Proxy Dragon, into another Link Spider, and a Borreload Dragon, which immediately gets Solemn Struck. Now the game's over because we have a Terraforming set. We can go into another copy of Magical Meltdown, use A-Lister's effect to get an Invocation to hand, go into a copy of MEKK-KNIGHT, and then use the Invocation to return the A-Lister to our hand, set another, and special summon a purple. That gets in for 25, 25, and 23. So we're already in game 3, that was fast. Our opponent is on Pendulum Magicians, and as always this will be a best of 3. We get to go first, which is not ideal for the deck, but probably ideal against Pendulum Magicians. We'll activate Magical Meltdown, get A-Lister, get Invocation, and go into a copy of MEKK-KNIGHT, bidding one of the several monsters in our hand to do so. Our opponent's going to start by setting scales. One of their scales is of course going to be one of these Wisdom Eye Magicians. We'll go ahead and Ghost Ogre it right now. Unfortunately they have a second one and a Pendulum Graph of Ages. They'll add it back to their hand, go ahead and get a Harmonizing in their scale, another to hand, and then Pendulum summon 5 monsters, followed by the effect of harmonizing, getting themselves a 6th one. So we're trying to negate the effect of Heavy Metal Foe's Electromite. When they go to use it, we will banish said card, but unfortunately 4 materials is going to be more than enough to do something. They'll go into Ignister, destroy one of their cards so they can shuffle mine back and attack over for 3150. So we're at 4850, we still have a pretty healthy life total. We'll start by normal summoning A-Lister for another copy of Invocation, special summon this Jack Knight of the Crimson Lotus to destroy the Ignister, go into a second copy of MEKK-KNIGHT, shuffle that Invocation back for a copy of A-Lister, then special summon the Blue Sky, adding a purple to our hand. Things are looking okay, but we have to negate the effect of this purple poison so that we can not lose our Crimson Lotus. We get to do a fair amount of damage, but unfortunately it is under lethal, and our opponent has so many tools with which to set up on their next turn. They draw into a Supreme King Gate 0, they'll go ahead and add a copy of Black Fang back to their hand, and they'll Pendulum Summon 4, one of which is a Harmonizing Magician, which they can use to get another purple poison. They'll go into Big Eye, prompting the negation from the MEKK-KNIGHT. At this point the game is completely over because they can just sink into the Supreme King Clear Wing to destroy our entire board, and then get a Oaf Dragon Tribute Summon and attack for lethal. Alright, so it's time for game 2, and unfortunately we have drawn very poorly. We're going second, and a copy of Cobalt Depths is not really what we want to see, alongside both copies of Invocation and our Magical Meltdowns. Our opponent is going to build the most oppressive board possible. We'll see if we can chew through it. They draw into what else? A Supreme King Dragon Darkworm, getting a Gate 0 to their hand. They'll go ahead and use Chronograph's effect to go into Time Gazer. That triggers Astrograph in hand, adds another Chronograph. They'll go into Pendulum Graph of Ages, then trigger it off of the Link Summon of Heavy Metal Foe's Electromite, then activate Heavy Metal Foe's Electromite's effect. They're going to set scales, one of which is Wisdom Eye, for a Black Fang. They'll then use Chronograph Sorcerer's effect and Heavy Metal Foe's Electromite's effect as well. They'll then go ahead and use Oaf Dragon to add a card back to hand, then Chronograph off of the Oaf Dragon Destruction, go into Norito, go into Decode Talker, perform a Pendulum Summon for 1 Astrograph, and pass it back. We're going to start by activating our copy of Magical Meltdown, which gets Norito'd. Unfortunately, we don't have a lot else. We'll go into a Purgatrio and start attacking, but that set card is Pendulum Graph of Spacetime, so we lose. So, we're back with the deck. Wow, that last match was painful. Unfortunately, I don't think you got a very accurate read about the power level of this deck from the last one. One of the things it excels at is boarding. Since you can expect to go second after boarding, you can trick opponents into taking out relevant spells by choosing opposite what you're expected to. More importantly, post-board you get access to Kaiju, which are incredible in the deck. All in all, there's just not a lot to talk about. I mean, it sucks that this deck is so expensive because it doesn't require memorizing intricate combo lines like other meta decks, and it would be a great introduction for new players if it didn't boast such an outrageous price tag. So that's that. I hope you appreciated one of the few Yu-Gi-Oh! Decks that actually just plays itself. If you want to see me play the decks I make on this show on stream, I'm on twitch.tv/monobluetron every Tuesday and Thursday from 10 to midnight Eastern Standard Time. If you have an idea for a certain deck or archetype you want to see me take a look at in a future episode of this show, let me know in the comments and I'll do my best. Otherwise, I'll see you Monday.